First, I want to begin tonight by showing you the most embarrassing thing CNN has ever done, and that's saying something. The network that specialises in propagating misinformation seems to have themselves been the victim of misinformation. Perhaps that's being too kind. It was more likely they were victims of their own lack of curiosity, a lack of curiosity that led them to assist in setting free an alleged war criminal and broadcasting it globally as one of the most amazing moments on television in 20 years. Amazing indeed. The CNN crew were in Damascus right after Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad was toppled last week. Now, the broadcast crew were filming in an empty prison when they stumbled upon what appeared to be the only locked cell in the secret facility. With help from their guides, they broke into the cell and rescued a victim of Assad's brutal regime, except he wasn't a victim at all. The man they set free was later identified as Salama Mohammad Salama, one of Assad's most brutal lieutenants, responsible for the savage torture of civilians. But CNN didn't know that, or at least they didn't check that, when they were busy freeing the war criminal and broadcasting it globally in what reporter Clarissa Ward described as, quote, one of the most extraordinary moments I've witnessed in 20 years of reporting. Here's the moment Ward and her CNN team rescued a war criminal and broadcast it to the world.
I'm a civilian, he says. I'm a civilian. He tells the fighter he's from the city of Homs and has been in the cell for 3 months. Okay, you're okay. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay. He clutches my arm tightly with both hands. Okay. Does anyone have any water? Water. My. Okay, it's water. It's water. Okay. Okay. Okay, you're okay.
Now, for a guy who claimed to have been in solitary confinement for 3 months, he was looking pretty good. In fact, he looked better after 3 months in solitary than I look after 6 hours in bed, but maybe that says something about me. CNN reporter Clarissa Ward escorted the victim out into the fresh air, where his acting skills turned out to be every bit as good as his reportedly brutal interrogation skills. The CNN crew was so loving that they were part of the story. The whole thing was basically a selfie. It never seemed to have occurred to them that this was all just a little bit too, clean.
After 3 months in a windowless cell, he can finally see the sky. My God, the light, he says. Oh God, there is light. My God, there is light.
Now, of course, he wasn't actually saying, oh God, there's light. He was really saying, thank you, God, for sending me the dupes from CNN. CNN, of course, have spent the past decade being duped by Russian collusion, Biden's mental capacity, the border, inflation. And now their reporter is getting kisses from an alleged war criminal. You can't make this stuff up. Assad's brutal enforcer was so loving CNN, he didn't want them to leave.
Stay with me, stay with me, he repeats again and again.
And they were so busy being part of the story, they didn't notice his tip-top physical condition, his nice clothing, his impeccable grooming, and his lack of any injuries or even bruises to think that, well, maybe they'd been catfished. Meanwhile, Salama was putting on a performance worthy of the Oscars as CNN quite literally ate it up.
The fighter hands him something to eat. Barely lifted to his mouth. But his body can't handle it. Okay, you're okay.
Now, it was only after this CNN exclusive went viral that local fact-checkers alerted the network they had just released one of Assad's most notorious henchmen. Oops. They said the man CNN set free, kissed and fed had been responsible for the murder and torture of citizens who would not act as informers for Assad. The way things are going, I expect that next week, Salama Mohammad will cross the Mexican border into the United States, where Joe Biden will be waiting with a pardon. And a month after that, he'll probably turn up on CNN as their Middle East correspondent. Addressing the fiasco, CNN today said they were, quote, aware Salama may have given a false identity. No kidding. But CNN, the most trusted name in news, never thought to check what Salama had told them. Then again, they never think to check what the Hamas-run health ministry tells them about casualties in Gaza either. Speaking of which, what are the odds that the Albanese government's checks on Gazans given visas to come to Australia are about as thorough as CNN's?